Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to give you a bit of an update on BlackRock, where we are and how we're progressing at the moment. Forward-looking statements. In summary, BlackRock is a ASX-listed Tanzanian-based graphite developer. I use that word importantly. We're a developer, we're no longer an explorer. We've completed the exploration phase. We're a significant deposit globally. We're ranked number 4 in terms of resources and number 2 in terms of reserves. And reserves matter in this space because they're the portion of the resource that you make money out of. Current market cap is $40 million. In the last 12 months, we've managed to double our market cap. So it's something we're pretty happy about. We are construction ready, subject to financing and subject to completion of the resettlement action plan and resolution of the structure and nature of the Tanzanian government participation in the project. We're differentiated in a couple of areas. I think the first area we're differentiated on is the leadership. Our board has significant, deep experience in developing mines. Our chairman's Richard Crooks. Richard's ex-EMR Capital. They're a very large Australian-based PE fund specialises in mining. Ian Murray is a non-executive director, and Ian's recently managed to take Gold Road Resources from being a project company through to a $1 billion listed gold entity. So we've got the right people in the team to take the project forward. What have we been doing? I came onto the company about 2 years ago, and in that 2 years we've progressed from having a scoping study through to delivering a pre-feasibility study, optimising that feasibility study, and then completing both a feasibility study and an optimised feasibility study. In the middle of that, we've managed to run 2 pilot plants, completed our mining licensing process, and completed our environmental permitting process. So we're now at the point where we're entering into a financing process, which we hope to progress through fairly quickly and rapidly move into construction. Highlights on the project. Look, it's got an NPV10 after tax, after free carried of $1.2 billion US. That compares to a market cap of 40 million Australian. So there's a fair room to move on this once we get some news flow around resolution of the government structure and resolution around financing. Our CapEx of 116 million effectively is plant, property and equipment of about 75 million. The rest of it is really owners and execution costs. And our business model is about kicking off an 83,000 tonne a year module, and that produces about a 60 million EBITDA, and we simply reinvest the cash flows to build modules 2, 3 and 4 when the market conditions allow us to do so. It gives us a 26-year mine life. We start drilling some more holes. I'm pretty confident we can extend that mine life. So if we just tick through a few of the highlights of the project very quickly at the moment, we're upstream focused. We think geology is our competitive advantage. Moving downstream into a more manufacturing focused portion of the business doesn't help us a lot. And what we're really doing as an organisation is we're focused on having customers, not competitors. So we want to go downstream and know enough about the downstream side to make sure we're not mispricing our product. But apart from that, we're very happy to stay at the top end of the value chain where we make our money off our geology. And our geology is unique, and that's a key competitive advantage. We have done real commercial work. We've done our first pilot plant was done in Canada at SGS at Lakefield. 90 tonnes of product, 90 tonnes of ore went through that mill. It produced 8 tonnes of product that we put in the hands of 22 customers. We had great reaction out of the Western markets. We had great reaction out of Japan and Korea. We had very muted reaction out of China. When we dug into that, what we found out was nobody in China had heard of SGS. So we had to repeat the experiment. So we ran a second pilot plant in China, and we opened the door up for that and invited a bunch of off-takers in to do their own independent sampling. In this space, repeating the experiment and getting the same answer is actually really, really good. Our product's unique, and the reason our product is unique is graphite's a metamorphic mineral, so it's a sedimentary mineral. It gets compressed and cooked at great temperatures, and in this process you have fluids migrate through the ore body, and those fluids can create a secondary mineralisation event. So when people get up here and talk about graphite, they talk about graphite and vanadium, molybdenum, tungsten, uranium and all those other things. We've got graphite. and that's all we've got. It's really, really important because what it means is we can get to a concentrate grades of 98 to 99% in a world that thinks 95% looks good. So it gives us a grade advantage in the market around our concentrate. But because we don't have the deleterious elements, we have very few processing steps. We only have 3 stages of polishing, which means we don't damage the large flake on the way through. So if you look at our product distribution, we've got 60% large flake, 40% fines at 98%, which means that when we're punching into the existing markets, which are dominated by fine flake, we're not in a very competitive situation with the existing players. Our product is 3% higher grade on a concentrate basis, and we're only really trying to put 35,000 tonnes of product into a 700,000 tonne market. The large flake is a market screaming for product, so we're very confident we can put the 50,000 tonnes of large flake away very easily. And we've demonstrated that by having 5 parties sign up under pricing framework agreements. Again, we're the only graphite developer to have people sign up to pricing framework agreements. So our market strategy is really straightforward: 60% flake, 40% fines. We were in a position where we had to basically tie the two together to get our off-takers to sign up to our pricing framework agreement. What we're finding now is that, I guess as the EV rhetoric is becoming more mature, people are looking very closely at our fines portion and recognising, A, it's homogeneous, and B, it is particularly well-regarded product, that we're starting to have the right conversations with people in the OEM space that we wanted to have a few years ago. That's coming together quite nicely. Our price deck gives us $1,300 a tonne FOB, Dar es Salaam. We believe that's a reasonable price deck. It's based on Roskill's 2018 work. It's correlated by the fact our price off-takers have signed up to the pricing, so it gives us an idea that its market is reasonable in terms of China. We also independently can reconcile this back to traded values that we see in the Chinese market. So we're pretty confident that the price deck of around $1,300 a tonne is defendable. Not only have we got a great deposit, but it got put in the right place. So we're very, very lucky in the location that it's 60 kilometres south of Ifakara, which is on the Tanzanian-Zambian railway. So we're able to truck material down to Ifakara. We'll establish a warehouse there, we'll containerise it, make this up into shipments, and we'll take shipments straight down into the port of Dar es Salaam, which is one of the largest deep water ports on the east coast of Africa. Dar is a big port. It does 16 million tonnes a year of freight, and they're putting in 2 extra container stacks to take that to 32 million tonnes a year. Means at the moment we do 200,000 empty containers a year going back to Asia, so on mostly empty ships, so we get pretty good freight rates. If I'm further down the coast there, effectively I need to charter a vessel, put containers on that vessel, take it down and pay demurrage while we stuff the containers. Being able to take this straight onto the port is a massive advantage. The second advantage of that is we are looking at selling FOB Dar es Salaam. So at that point we effectively have a 10-day plant to port turnaround. So it's a very important working capital argument. The final connection points on that is you can see we are effectively halfway between 2 decent sized hydroelectric stations. So we'll be running grid power up to site, and we'll be running our graphite off hydropower. So we start to think about green graphite as being low carbon intensity, very pure graphite, and a sensible environmental strategy. Our execution strategy is very simple. We think IKEA looks good, and that's what we want to emulate. So our plant will be prefabricated in China, containerised and shipped over, and we aim for an assembly as opposed to a construction project. It reduces the time in field execution, and importantly it simplifies the sort of skills that you need on site to be able to execute the project. 26-year mine life means we need to be here for a long time, and that really goes into our ethos around planning. So we're observing the Equator Principles the whole way through. We need to do that as part of our financing package, but things like access to hydropower gives us a low emissions footprint. access to high quality local workforce gives us a really good training skills regime as well. I'll just finish off very quickly here with the financing bit. We were going for a blended model. We believe that that's the best solution. So as part of our financing, we have got Tanzanian participation emerging. We've got our vendors putting in an EPC bid, which we're very happy about. And that's accounting for, at the moment, something like 30%, 40% of the total capital cost of the project. So where we're at this stage, at the start of the financing process, is having 30 or 40% of your capital cost already lined up is a good position to be in. Final part is just our footprint. We're trying to keep our footprint small, a high level of engagement within the stakeholder community. An important part of what we're doing here, give you an example, is we're going to have a small camp because Mahenge is 5 kilometres away from the site, so most of our people will be residential. But when you start putting in a small camp, you need to have an agricultural project to be able to feed the camp, and that's the sort of level of detail that we're getting into on part of our project. So summing up Mahenge, very simple. It's a simple open pit. It's a small open pit in Africa, and it's got outstanding returns. Our product is unique. It's higher grade than our peers. It takes less chemical intensity to get it to battery grade than our peers, and that's a unique commercial advantage. Our location gives us great access to logistics and gives us our low cost base. Our whole approach here has been around risk mitigation. We're very sensitive to risk management, and that's flowing through into our financing strategy. Our price deck is transparent, it's defendable and realistic, so we're very happy with that. And ultimately, at the end of the day, we're here for the long haul, so for 26-year mine life, stakeholder engagement, community relations are critically important factors of our business plan. Thank you.